Hello, Adam. It's
Hi,
such a
how are
pleasure
you?
to meet you.
You too.
I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
Uh, love everything. But yeah, so like I really love this movie. Congratulations. It's
Thank
so good. Like better than I ever hoped and dreamed it could be. And I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. All right. This movie feels very pro wrestling to me. Is that something you were conscious of, or is that just me being a pro wrestling fan?
No, absolutely it was. I mean, as a matter of fact, we there was a version at one point, in the previs that I really regret that we didn't do, but like we originally had Kong do Steve Austin's the what is it the Stone Cold Stunner
Really?
at one point on Godzilla. Yeah, and I always regretted that we didn't at least try to push it through a little bit harder so I could have seen it like fully rendered out, because I have a feeling it would have been pretty amazing. But it was a little, like that's an instance where it was like a little bit like it seemed like maybe one step too far. But definitely like pro wrestling was something that I was always thinking of. Even Kong's build in this film. I mean, like he's a little older, more grizzled, and we beefed him up, and I wanted to give him a little bit more of that, like, pro wrestling physique. I wanted him to look a little bit more like Triple H or something.
I mean, did you go back and like study, Andre versus Hulk kind of matches, having like these big giants and the way they went through?
Absolutely. I mean, one of my best friends is Jason Eisner, and he does that
Mm,
show Dark Side of the Ring, and so I actually
yeah, yeah.
asked him about like some of his favorite matches, and and I think like he and I like really like one of like the golden eras for when we were growing up of wrestling was like sort of in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so there's some really great matches in that period. Like I went back and watched the do you remember the big match between the Undertaker and Mankind, where
Oh, of
Undertaker
course.
throws him through the top of the ring? It's like it was this like gigantic fall. I think I can't remember if it was into tax or not, but it was like such an epic
No,
match.
that was onto the board. The tax were after that.
That's what it
1998.
was. Yeah, because I guess it would have killed him probably if he threw him onto the tax from that high out through the cage, right? But
Well,
yeah, no,
JR
I
did
mean,
declare him dead. Yeah.
I did watch a bunch of matches again, and yeah, I'm a huge wrestling fan.
No, it's amazing. And yeah, I mean, also just the way that you have them, go back and forth is also very wrestling. Like you're protecting both of them.
Yeah,
Kong has his like standing tall moment. You have got like this. You've got the rubber match. You've got the monster heel coming in,
yeah,
and Mecha
absolutely. Well, and
Godzilla.
and you have to like always like kind of flip it. You can't just somebody can't come in winning and then actually win the fight. You have to kind of like keep people guessing and go back and forth with it and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much empathy in their physicality too, which is just, I think, probably the biggest achievement here. Like you care about these characters so much. Like obviously, it's a giant lizard and a giant ape, but you're just fully invested because
Absolutely. I
they're
mean,
able to tell such a story with their movements.
yeah, I feel a lot for these monsters. I think about them a lot. It's really funny when you're making a movie like this for years. You have these moments of clarity occasionally where you suddenly realize that like every single day for years you've been talking very casually about King Kong and Godzilla. You have like heated arguments with people about Godzilla, like you're taking things very seriously, but it's kind of like it's only when you take a step back and you just think about how like absurd that seems. But like there's a lot of responsibility there with these characters, that they're not just big lumbering beasts. They do have personalities, and you have to keep up with that. Godzilla's got swagger, Kong has like heart, and you have to always keep that in check, and try to make sure that you're thinking about the monsters fully as characters at all time, no matter what they're doing.
And please make a sequel, or we have to wrap. But I'm just saying, please make one.
I would love to.
Can't wait. All right, thank you so much.
Thank
Great
you.
pleasure meeting you.
Hi, William.
Excellent. Hi, wait, hold on. There I can see. There you go. Good to talk to you.
You too,
We
man.
spoke 2 weeks ago because I'm over here in Dubai. We
Oh yeah,
spoke
for a different outlet or?
yeah, for Esquire.
All right, all right.
So, yeah, good to talk to you again.
Yeah, are you based down there?
Yeah, in Dubai. Yeah,
All
been
right,
here
cool.
12 years.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
it's great. And you're home, right? How's home for you?
It's good. It's good. I live between New York and Stockholm, and I haven't been home home to my home in New York in a year now, which is crazy. So, but I'm in Stockholm, where it's always been my home and my heart, because this is where I was born and my family is still here. So I've been here for a couple of months now. I was in Ireland for the Northman for 6 months in the fall. So I was working throughout the first 6 months of the pandemic. But now I'm here. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's great. I'm sure it's great to be home and see the family and everything.
It's been, yeah, it's really, it's nice. I mean, it's obviously a difficult time, but it's, considering everything, like, I'm lucky because my family, everyone's doing all right and is safe and here. And it's you know, like you said, it's a nice opportunity for me, who I'm constantly on the road normally. So it's quite nice to just be home and not just for a week around Christmas or a week over summer. You know, it's like to actually be here and spend some real time with my family, which has been really nice.
So about the movie, I finally seen it. You were right. It's awesome. It's so good. It's so good.
Well,
I really enjoyed it.
I'm happy to hear
and like, I mean, one of the most impressive things about it is that, especially when you have this kind of gigantic scale, the fact that the human characters don't disappear in that,
yeah,
that they're present and they're there and they matter and you care about them, is like such an accomplishment. So in terms
I'm
of,
happy to hear that, man.
yeah, I mean, but in terms of like how you approach a character like this, like what kind of depth are you able to imbue in that? Like how do you try to assert a character when you know it's just not just an ensemble, but also just like there's monsters that are taking everyone.
Yeah, I think you have to, it's, in a way, it's a very humbling experience, because if you have any kind of ego as an actor going into it, that's going to be like shattered when you realize you're in a movie with King Kong and Godzilla. You definitely know that you're not the star of the show, and people aren't going to go to the movie to watch you. So it's about like understanding your part of it and how you fit into this. And what I did enjoy the fact that, like, Nathan is not a stereotypical hero. He's not like a tough guy, which was fun to kind of work on that and explore that with Adam, the filmmaker, about like, well, what's his journey? How can we make this interesting? Again, without, like, in a way where it's like, it's a balance, because you want enough screen time where like the audience is invested in the human characters and they care about them, but knowing that like people are not going to go to this movie to watch like Nathan Lynn's journey over 2 hours. Like, so you got to intersperse that and like have beats of it, but then you want to cut to the good stuff, which is like King Kong and Godzilla beating the shit out of each other. But what I do think is important is when they do that, a way you want the audience to be invested in King Kong and in Godzilla, and a way for them to invest in them is through we're almost like vessels for a connection from the audience to these characters. So through especially Kaylee's character, Gia, who can communicate with Kong, it's a way to kind of invite the audience to get to know Kong a bit better, where he's more than just this big brute who can fight. Like, hopefully people will feel for him and feel his loneliness and the fact that like he doesn't have a family. He's been isolated his entire life. And again, especially in this day and age and after a year of this pandemic, I think people can hopefully relate to the notion of being separated and being alone. And so I think our job in the movie is basically to kind of be a portal into to these characters for the audience, knowing that, like, again, sprinkle that in a perfect amount between the big set pieces to make it interesting and to make it real in a way.
What do you and Adam talk about normally on set? Like, what was the most constant conversation you guys had?
Death metal, probably. He's a big metal fan. No, but a lot of the conversations were, well, leading up to it, it was about Nathan's arc, basically, to make sure that, one, I didn't want him to be too much of I didn't want him to be an alpha. There's enough testosterone in the movie with Godzilla and King Kong. So, and I didn't want him to be like a tough guy. So tough, like, and I thought the stakes are higher if he's ill-equipped to lead this mission. Like, he's more kind of a brainy, cerebral scientist type than a soldier. And I also like the idea that it was a slightly like there was friction, not between him and Kong, because Kong doesn't give a shit about Nathan, but like he's not a fan of Kong in the beginning, and he keeps his distance, and in a way he's very selfish and manipulates Kong to get into Hollow Earth. But then slowly, as Kong grows on Nathan, he hopefully grows on the audience as well, and we form a connection between Kong and Nathan, and also between Kong and the audience. So Adam and I we spent a lot of time talking about like the arc of Nathan, of how do we play that in an interesting way. And then right before shooting, it was a lot of just technical stuff, looking at storyboards, looking at pre-visualizations of like, all right, what's happening around us? Because 8 days out of 10 we're on a sound stage with green screen around us. So it was more about like technically figuring out what's going on around us, what's happening, where are we, what are we reacting to, that kind of stuff. So it was a lot of that.
Excellent. Well, we're out of time, but great pleasure to speak with you again. Hello.
Great.
How are you?
Good.
My name is William. Nice to meet you both. Excellent. So tell me, what was it that you enjoyed most about doing this film? What was it that excited you most about doing this film?
Kaylee, you go.
When the movie releases, or just about the film in general?
About the film in general.
Kong, really, seeing him and being with him.
Excellent. And Rebecca, for you?
I have a lot of things that I really enjoyed about it. I mean, honestly, it was a fun thing to do. It was a very nice group of people. But for me, the most enjoyable aspect of it was getting to hang out with Kaylee right here, because and getting to learn a little bit of ASL, or at least get coached in how to do my bits in the scene, and trying my best to communicate with her when, in a bad way. I mean, she's really an excellent teacher. She would often, tell me about, we would spend the whole day her trying to communicate with me about various signs that I would then try and remember, and then she would test me later on. Like I'd point to something and and then she'd tell me, and then later in the afternoon she'd be like, okay, go, and I'd be like, but that was really fun for me, and it gave another dimension, because getting to act in another language is really exciting. And so much of Kaylee can talk about this a lot, but so much of sign is for us hearing people, we assume it's all in the finger movements, and actually the majority of it is in your facial expressions, which for an actor, it's just an extension of what I'm interested in. So that was really fascinating for me, and a particular sort of challenge that I loved.
Kaylee, was Rebecca a good student?
Yeah. Yes, she was a very good student.
I'm sure you're happy to hear that, Rebecca. Kaylee, what did you learn from Rebecca?
Working with Rebecca, I learned about her facial expressions and what you have to do in using them for acting, actually.
Excellent. Rebecca, was there anything besides, just sign language, just what you learned from Kaylee as a person, as a human?
I think that, it's been a long time since I've looked at a film set through the lens of someone who's never been on a film set before. I've been doing this since I was 9, and there's a sort of, it's quite overwhelming and ridiculous, the sort of sense of everything that happens behind the curtain and how things, and so getting to be next to Kaylee as she experienced all of that made me look at things differently, I think. And also, you know, she is a really, really talented actor. And I feel that, you know,
Thank you very much.
Please. But, you know, it's an old adage that acting is reacting to something, which is a funny thing to say when we're talking about things that we're often acting with things that we can't even see. But for the scenes where I got to act with someone, it was with Kaylee, and reacting with her is sort of, you know, reminds one of that, because she's so responsive and present and open as an actor, and that's really what you wish for.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, and thank you, Kaylee. It was very nice meeting you, and thank you and congratulations on the film. You're both wonderful in it. Thank you. Hello, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
We met last year at the Bloodshot.
Oh my God, it feels like 100 years ago now.
That was the last time I was in a plane. Like I have
That's
not
crazy.
gone anywhere.
Oh my God, we meet again.
We meet again. Good to see you again. Yeah, congratulations on the film. It's so good.
Oh, good. Really I'm glad you liked it.
I really loved it. I mean, what did you love about doing it? Like, where was the joy in this movie for you?
Oh my God, the outlet and the output of being able to be so creative and just dreamlike and childlike. So different to Bloodshot and so different to like something like I Care a Lot, you know, that it's like all about grounding performances. This is just sort of like, also Maya is like such a wild card that I could do kind of anything, and she was funny and weird and quirky and just had moments of like just being the total asshole. And I love that about her. You know, she's just like a fun character to play. So just being able to like play pretend with my castmates and just be all like kids, like, oh my God, I think Kong's there or there. Like, we don't know what's going to be like. And then just seeing the outcome was just mind blowing to me. I guess that's what it feels like to be in all these big movies. And it's my first experience. And I just like, I was terrified because I always think I'm terrible. So I was terrified of seeing anything, and I live in the imposter syndrome mentality. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be awful. But it was so entertaining. And I surprisingly was able to get away from my performance and just really enjoy the movie because it's such a big scale movie.
No, you were so good. Like, you're always so good, but you're really good.
Thank you.
I don't need to tell you that. But I mean,
fishing for compliments. No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean it. I mean it. But I mean, did you have like a reference point for Kong? Like, was there a guy sitting there just like going like this, or
we had a lot of tennis balls? We had a lot of tennis balls, but more than tennis balls, we had like X's around the studio. I mean, we're in a massive, large scale studio. We're in Australia. We shot most of the inside stuff, and you know, it was crazy. And there's stuff that like got cut out of the movie that didn't make it. That was wild. I mean, I remember I had a scene where Kong would come out of the water and he kind of barfs water, and I would be running from the water, and then didn't make it to the movie. But shooting that was wild because they had to dump gallons and gallons and gallons of water on me from like a slide. So shooting that was so fun because it was like just being in a water park. So the whole movie was just, I mean, and I had to imagine Kong. It was just crazy. I mean, but it's really cool to see the outcome of it, because we had a great script where it humanized these monsters for the first time, and we have a lot of human monster connection throughout the whole movie. And it was cool to see how they animated them to feel so real and so you really empathize with them. So I was really surprised when I watched the final result.
What kind of vibe did Adam create on set? What's he like as a filmmaker?
He's great. Oh my God, Adam's great. And I think that he's such a nerd in the best possible way. I hope he doesn't take that as an offense, but he is a nerd, and he would like really geek out about the movie and really just be so excited. And he would talk us about the ideas, and he would show us the imagery and be like, okay, I think this is what it is. And I think for everyone, I mean, when you're doing these large scale movies, it's terrifying, you know, especially with like such an up and coming director. But the way that he delivered the movie, and he always had like such a copacetic, nice energy on set. So I'm really proud of him, and I'm really excited that this is going to bring a lot of good stuff for him because he's such a good human being.
He's amazing. He's amazing. And I think I outgeeked him a little bit. I probably scared him off. But in terms of, you know, the relationships you were able to build with your co-stars, like obviously when you're going through this gigantic scale, insane thing. I'm sure there's a lot of downtime. I'm sure there's a lot of time.
Yeah.
To
We also
film.
moved, we lived together. I mean, not together, but we like moved around Australia and Hawaii for a long period of time. I mean, we shot this movie, I lose track, 8 months, 7 months. I don't even know, a long time. So you become really close. I mean, I had already known Alexander from before, and I had never met Rebecca. And funny enough, I'll give you a little secret. I never met Billy, Millie, or Brian, or Julian. I've never met them. I've never even seen them in person. So it's crazy because that just goes to show how you can shoot a whole movie for 7 months and never cross paths with people.
Oh, it's absolutely insane. But yeah, congratulations again on the film.
Thank
and
you.
Hope next time we talk, it's in person.
I know. Hopefully soon. Take care.
Take care. Hello. It's an honor to meet you.
Hello, William. Honored to meet you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I love the film. I love your character, and I'm sure there's nothing as fun as being able to play a villain in a monster movie, like, and to give like the big dramatic speech. Like, did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I know, right? It's a lot of fun, man. I mean, this type of characters are so juicy and so rich. And to me, it's a human being. To me, it's about human beings. I don't believe in bad and good, or a villain and a hero. I think we all have that duality, and we have that chance in our lives. We have the choice to be great or to be poor, mentally and emotionally and physically poor. You know what I mean? We have the opportunity of becoming heroes instead of villains. Mm-hmm. So to me, this is great about this film and this character, because Walter Simmons has it all. He has everything. He has the power and the will and the determination and all that, but he's not thinking globally. He's not thinking about the well-being of everybody else. If it's only to make yourself richer, that's when the trouble begins. Donald Trump. Sorry.
But no, I mean, that is the great success of the film, is that every character does feel like a real human being. They do feel like they matter. You do care about their journeys.
That is exactly, yeah, I agree with you, because that's one of the things that I love about the script when I read it, that it has this human drive, type of thing in it. It's very moving. It's a very moving film. It talks about us and how great we are and how fragile our planet can be in the wrong hands.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Adam, as a filmmaker, I mean, he's always been incredibly talented, but he's, I think with this, shown that he, has a lot more to give. I mean, how does he compare for you to working with a lot of, filmmakers you worked with in the past, from Quentin Tarantino, Soderbergh, Robert Rodriguez, like similar, or is it totally different?
Yeah, no, Adam has, stepped into the big, level of the best directors, with this film. This is a heavyweight type of responsibility, and he did it so well. He made a fantastic, phenomenal film, and it was great to work with him too. He's great with actors. He's great with action. He's great with, his camera. He knows exactly where to put it to tell the best, of every character, and to make a scene, big. And so we will hear more from this guy. You will hear his name more and more and more and more in that level.
What did you two bond over?
Many different things. I think making films is about the same thing. It doesn't matter how much the film costs to make. It's not about the budget, but it's about the human experience. And Adam and I, we care for the same things. We care about the characters. We care about the communion of the entire crew, and the mystic, mystica, the mystical part of it, and we believe in collaboration. We believe that everybody, especially in a film like this. So when we connect like that, everything goes very nicely and smoothly. But that's exactly the same way, you know, Ridley Scott functions, and Quentin Tarantino, and Chris White, and George Clooney, and Robin Wright. You know, that's how it is.
I mean, you've been acting for at least 33 years. Does it fulfill you in the same way?
More than that. More than that. It not only fulfills me the same way, but it excites me the same way, even more. You know, I'm always up for a new challenge, for a new adventure, and I'm always, you know, it's like a gift in a box, and I'm always, you know, so excited to open it and see what's inside and where that gift can take me. It's always about that, you know. It's a beautiful journey.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations again, and it's an honor to speak with you. And
thanks a lot, Willie.
Hope to speak again. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.